The previous video was about a sodium-ion battery with a lower energy density than a ternary or LFP battery, but excellent cycle characteristics and high capacity retention at low temperatures. Today's video is a sequel to the previous one, which is about the second-generation sodium battery of 200 Wh/kg that Chinese companies are claiming. If sodium batteries with such energy density really appear, it would be welcome for EV buyers, but the impact on the Korean battery industry is likely to be more serious than expected. That's because even compared to the high-nickel 4680 battery, which Tesla is eagerly waiting for mass production, the performance at pack level is formidable. In today's animation, we'll take a look at what technology is expected to be used for 200 Wh/kg sodium batteries and why their energy density is competitive with 4680 batteries. So, let's start a tech trip.
The surge in lithium prices over the past 2 years has exploded like never before. Of course, we are experiencing a crash due to increased lithium production and sluggish sales of electric vehicles originating in China, but prices are still quite high. On the other hand, batteries that use sodium, it only costs peanuts compared to lithium. CATL announced that the energy density of sodium batteries that will enter mass production this year is 160 Wh per kilogram, which is more than 10% lower than LFP, but the battery being developed with second-generation sodium batteries is 200 Wh per kilogram. Of course, it will only be meaningful if it succeeds in development, but if it really becomes a reality within a few years, it is expected to have excellent performance in various aspects, such as energy density, low temperature characteristics, and safety, compared to LFP, which is expanding the market with price competitiveness as a weapon. So where does 200 Wh per kilogram come from? Since I am not a CATL insider, I cannot verify the exact facts, but the following theoretical reasoning is possible. If a material with a capacity increase of about 25% over previously known cathode materials, which has high potential for application to sodium-ion batteries, is developed, achieving an energy density of 200 Wh per kilogram is quite possible, but at the moment it seems a little unlikely. In general, if a new breakthrough of any kind has not been completed, but has entered the visual sphere, the rough outline is known through papers or rumors, but there is no sign of that at the moment. Then the only way left is to touch the anode material. In an effort to further increase the energy density of ternary batteries while maximizing their nickel content, research has been conducted to increase the energy density of batteries by replacing part of the graphite anode material with silicon anode material with higher energy density, and recently it has been commercialized and has begun to be installed in some high-end model electric vehicles. Furthermore, efforts to replace graphite anode materials entirely with silicon are underway in a variety of ways, and a number of startup companies, such as Amprius and Nexion, are attracting funding on their own merits, but not very successfully. The ultimate way to maximize energy density is to build a battery with the cathode material completely removed. If this is possible, the weight and volume occupied by graphite or silicon inside the battery can be reduced to zero. In short, the best anode material is the one without the anode material. It looks like paradox, but that's the truth. The absence of anode material does not mean that the battery will not work. When the battery is charged, the lithium ions present in the cathode material begin to move in the negative direction and form a lithium film on the metal foil that acts as a current collector. It proceeds in a very similar way to electroplating. However, while conceptually brilliant, manufacturing a real battery in this way introduces a variety of problems. Of course it is. When conventional graphite anode materials existed, lithium ions accumulated inside the graphite layered structure, but now they have to form a uniform lithium layer on the bare ground. Ideally, a uniform lithium metal layer should be formed, as shown in the animation. However, here and there they will grow in uneven layers, or even in the form of pointed dendrite, that is, in the shape of a spear. When this happens, the consequences are catastrophic. As the lithium metal continues to grow in this form, it eventually breaks through the separator and reaches the cathode. When this happens, the energy stored in the cathode for a very short period of time causes an instant discharge through the link between the lithium metal and the cathode material, causing the temperature of the battery to skyrocket. However, CATL seems to have found a solution to this concept in batteries that use sodium ions instead of lithium. Naturally, if lithium is replaced with sodium, the same phenomenon will occur, but there are several ways to prevent it. Let's start with the conclusion. The left side is the structure of the negative electrode that makes up the sodium-ion battery, and the right side is the composition of the lithium-ion battery that is now widely used. At a glance, you can see that two things have changed. Sodium-ion batteries use aluminum foil and lithium-ion batteries use copper foil as current collectors. Copper foil is several times more expensive than aluminum foil and is much heavier due to its high density, but it could not be used as a current collector for anodes due to its reactivity with lithium ions. However, since sodium ions do not react with aluminum, they can be used as current collectors. This, too, can reduce the weight of the battery, which is a great help in improving energy density. And as you can see in the animation, sodium-ion batteries have a very thin coating of carbon on aluminum foil. In lithium-ion batteries, the thick graphite anode material plays a role in storing lithium, and the carbon layer of the thin film used in the negative sodium battery only induces sodium ions to accumulate on the aluminum foil. Let's take another look. It has recently been shown that the carbon layer of thin films coated on aluminum foil surprisingly helps sodium ions grow uniformly when charging the battery and inhibits the growth of pointed dendrite forms. Another important recipe is electrolyte additives. As the charge and discharge are continuously repeated, cracks occur over time in the sodium metal layer formed in the anode, and it is said that this phenomenon can be prevented by adding a substance containing boron atoms to the electrolyte. Now, let's explain why we were able to make this inference at this point. The first is a coincidence, but China's Hina, which has been developing sodium-ion batteries earlier in the year, in addition to CATL, also recently announced that it is developing the same 200 watt-hour per kilogram sodium battery as CATL. Separately, the results of a joint study by 10 universities and state-funded research institutes in China were published in June 2022 in Nature Energy, which also involved 200 watt-hour per kilogram sodium batteries. Within 1 year, 3 different institutions had made announcements about sodium-ion batteries of the same energy density. Moreover, since one of the co-authors of the paper is from the aforementioned Chinese Hina group, the belief that they are woven with the same technology is further strengthened. And this video is a brief explanation of the main content of the thesis based on such a feeling. Oh, and there's one thing I missed. The electrolyte they plan to use in sodium-ion batteries has a much higher ignition point than conventional lithium-ion electrolytes, reducing the risk of explosion even more than that of LFPs as well as ternary batteries. It is more than 40% cheaper than lithium-ion batteries, has a low risk of explosion, has high capacity retention at low temperatures, can be fast-charged, and reduces the energy density at the pack level compared to the high-nickel 4680 battery, which Tesla is committed to full mass production, by just over 10% when manufactured in the form of CATL's cell-to-pack concept battery.
How did you like today's video? High-nickel batteries are not a panacea. The development of high-nickel batteries, which are close to saturation with increased energy density, also makes sense. But if you dismiss your competitor's approach as cheap, you can blow your chances of responding. It is time to take a sober look at the current situation before it's too late.